It looks like we're rolling. No clue how this looks. I tried to include my face in it. I'll see how the video or recording looks when I'm done. But this is Sora Donald Goofy 99. I started to get back into Steven Universe recently. I always thought it was a great show, but the only thing that kind of bugged me was that, yeah, I wanted to do more gem stuff and not really, look into Beach City as much as they wanted us to. But I thought I'd at least make a tier list of how I liked all the characters. It was kind of hard to find one without too many background characters. This is one of the better ones I found, and you can still tell who everyone is, pretty much. Except I thought these characters were a little bit too into the background for me to really talk about them, or these two are video game characters. We'll just give them their little slot over here. Didn't I know I played one of the video games, but I didn't enjoy it that much. It was that I didn't try to enjoy it. It was just after I played it for a while, I was just like, it just isn't for me. I think it was the first of the Save the Light trilogy or whatever you want to call it. I always wanted to give it a try again too, but it's out of the store and out of like mobile game stores now, so that's just how it is. Well, um, let's get this going. As usual, my criteria is S, A, B, C, D, E, F. I absolutely love these characters. A is I really like these characters, but they're not like the best to me. B, I like them a fair bit and still do, even if some people think they're bad. C, I don't really like or hate you. You exist. D, there may be certain things I like about you, but I overall don't like you too much. E, some people like these characters, but I don't understand them necessarily. Understand why they like them, and I'm just not really a fan. F is I absolutely despise you, no matter what people think. And I included a background character tier because I just don't know what to say. Like, I don't know what to say about Lars's parents, really. A little bit too in the background for my taste. And these Jade characters, I know she's a fusion of these two, or I remember that. I remember it that way, and I never played the video game, so I can't really speak on uh, Peridot with the square hair, or I think her name is Hessenite, which cool sounding name, but I can't really talk about it. You know? Sorry about that. Okay, now I'm not sure what order I'm gonna go in. Usually I would go bup 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 according to whoever showed up, but well, yeah, we may as well just go with the first character and work our way down. Holly Blue Agate, which I guess Agate would be her name. I wasn't a big fan of her. I mean, it was kind of fun to see how she was a little surprised Steven showed up and how she was an absolute lapdog to, like, Blue and Yellow Diamond. But, or to Sapphire. I didn't realize Sapphires had that much class. Like, what are they, just below the Diamonds? Because they even have a title. Your Clarity. I don't think they hailed to them that way, but there you go. Interesting that her weapon was a whip, like an electric whip, unlike Amethyst, which was just had spiky balls at the end later in the show. But at first, it was like a normal whip with like purple spikes or whatever put along it. Yeah, just she ran the human zoo, which I know Gems never really thought very highly of humans in the first place, but there you go. She didn't stick out to me a lot, but I don't know. I'm just not a big fan. Like even to the point where I'm just like, yeah, you're there, and just like, no, I don't like how you treated your amethyst subordinates at all. I'm sorry. And Alexandrite's not one of my favorite fusions, but I like her a fair bit. Put Alexandrite in B. Just being a massive fusion of Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl, or Ruby and Sapphire. Sorry if you're seeing this and you haven't seen Steven Universe at all, we're going to be getting a Garnet when we get the Garnet. But I love how she has fire breath and has access to like basically all of the crystal gem weapons all at once. That is so cool. And she's the second strongest crystal gem fusion we've seen. At least I assume she's stronger than the Steven fusions with just one other character or two other characters in terms of anyway. But the golden visor looks so much better than the black sunglasses she had when she first started. This just amps up her look so much more to me. I'm a big fan of sunglasses. Just a big kaiju gem that I like a lot. And Amethyst, being one of Alexandrite's components, I've always liked her. Like even in the parts where she's like not the most mature person, I thought she was still like one of the more entertaining members of the team. She's probably my second favorite of the crystal gems. Yeah, and she had a lot of episodes dedicated to herself. I really felt for her when Garnet kept fusing with Pearl to form Sardonyx. Like, what, just because Sugalite messed up once? And part of that was Pearl's fault anyway, considering she didn't give Sugalite away back through the portal, or the only way they could get to the tower after that was to ride on Lion. And part of that was Pearl's fault. And also, I guess, Garnet for not foreseeing that Pearl would take Steven away like that. Well, Garnet with Future Vision doesn't always have the most insight on a situation. That's all I have to say. Anyway, Amethyst. I would say Amethyst is still A tier. I overall enjoyed her and her development throughout the show. Really loved that purple fireball attack she invented with the spin dash and her whips. That was probably one of Amethyst's coolest battle moments. One of her best character moments, though, was just yeah, she may be one of the quote unquote worst gems because she's undercooked, but she's still valuable in her own way. And that's really, really fun. Um, Andy, actually, I don't hate the guy. I know who he's supposed to represent, but he eventually kind of came around to what Greg liked, and yeah, it was probably unfair that Greg was still using the DeMeo farm, and now the farm is destroyed. Thank you, Lapis. But never had. Honestly, I was okay with the guy, and he was even helping some of the gems in Little Homeworld learn how to fly planes if they wanted to do that. Like the he was teaching a Nephrite how to fly. I do remember that. That was so cool of him, you know. And it took him a while to get used to it, even get used to the whole Gem family thing. Even though Greg distanced himself from the DeMeo family, which I would say for valid reasons, but may not have helped Steven in the long run. I have to agree. Steven didn't even know he had an uncle. Like Greg completely cut out the DeMeos from his life. It was still good to see Andy. Okay, Aquamarine though. I kind of like her. Um, yeah, I'd probably put her above Alexandrite. She was such a cheeky villain, and she was fun to watch. You know, yeah, she's a little villainous pixie bitch, but I kind of like her for being that. Now, I wouldn't want to meet her in real life. I promise you, she'd probably go all the way down to F tier if I met her in real life. But watching her work, it, it was quite fun. I wasn't a fan of how she treated the topazes, and honestly, her fusion with Eyeball into Bluebird Azurite was a, a, a cool plot point in Steven Universe Future. Yeah, gems will fuse for like the same if they have the same goal, even if it's a bad goal. So yeah, fusion can still be used for negative reasons. We highlighted that, but yeah, Aquamarine was a good villain. Sadie's mom, I don't really have any opinions on either. Uh, not, although I like Andy more. Weird as that might be to say, but At least Andy changed his mind. Well, Sadie's mom was like the overbearing mother, but she was doing it out of a place of love, not to rag on Sadie, but Sadie somewhere down here. Yeah, not to rag on Sadie, but Sadie did need the space from her mom for sure. I think my own mom loves me in a way like Sadie's mom loves Sadie, but she gives me a lot of space to do my own thing most of the time, so I'm okay for that. Oh, oh, Mayor Dewey. Okay. I like Mayor Dewey a little bit more than Sadie's mom. He was not a good mayor, but he was a real good donut man. That's really all I have to say about him. Now, Bismuth. I'm not sure she's the Bismuth that put Lapis in the mirror. They never did say whether or not she was. Uh, and I do wish we got more of Bismuth. I mean, she became a permanent cast member in the later half of season 5, and stayed through to future. And from what I saw, her and Pearl were a pretty good pairing. Loved it. Like I actually loved that idea of that whole storyline there. I'm not sure I would say Bismuth and Pearl are a couple. If they are, great, but I don't know. Love the rainbow hair. Although her first look reminded me way too much of Aunt Jemima, I prefer her current look, even if it's not that different. Oh, I could. So yeah, I do kind of associate Bismuth with maple syrup. She probably doesn't even like pancakes, but there you go. Buck. I don't really have much to say on Buck either. He had that weird T-shirt shooter episode, and I don't know. He's mostly a pretty cool guy, though. I his dad's the donut man. That's the only reason. Connie. Oh, whoops. Does Connie go A or do I feel like Connie's A or B. Um, the hard part isn't deciding whether I like Amethyst more than Connie or I like Connie more than Aquamarine. Is she A or B tier? You know what? There's going to be a first. Usually I don't do this, but we'll make this a minus, and we'll color it in that color, and we'll put Connie in A minus tier. I usually don't have to do that, but because I can't decide whether she's A or B, we'll just make an in between tier and put Connie in that. I really liked her introduction to the story. I liked how her and Pearl, or how Connie and Pearl like trained in sword fighting together. Connie actually became an important member of the team thanks to that, even if Pearl's training wasn't always the best for her. I'll do it for him, and I'll do it again. Which, good song and all, but Pearl, you really shouldn't have been doing that. I mean, Connie's not a gem. If she dies or gets mortally wounded, she's kind of just out of commission. At least if you get mortally wounded, Pearl, you go back into your gem, but Connie can't do that. Plus, she doesn't live as long as you. Anyway, Pearl's like nearly 6,000 years old, right? Yeah, we'll put Connie in A minus, unless I can decide a little bit later how I feel. Oh, now we're into diamond territory. Do I do them back to back to back? You know what? I probably just will. Blue diamond is probably my favorite of the 4 diamonds, all things considered. Um, we'll give blue diamond B tier because of relevance to the story at least. But I'm gonna put her in like really low B. Um, yeah, the whole diamond colonizing worlds and destroying worlds thing, I am not at all for. They abused Pink Diamond, or at least I got the message that she was abused by the other diamonds, and that's kind of why Pink wanted to do her own thing and get away from them, which makes a ton of sense. But Blue was the most receptive to Pink at the very least, so I want to at least give her some bonus points above the other diamonds. Except Pink, that is going to be a hard one for me to rank because Pink Diamond is also Rose Quartz. Spoilers if you have not seen the show at all. You really should watch the show if you haven't seen it yet. Even though I haven't really seen Future, I've seen enough of it to know what happens in general. Um, yeah, I'm sorry. Blue is my favorite of the diamonds just because I think she's the least evil of like the living three diamonds. You know, I'd say Pink Diamond is the least evil diamond in general. It's what she did to get what she wanted that kind of deters me. I saw seeing her character development happen in reverse is what makes this even harder to decide because you see her for her best and then you see her at her worst as the show goes on. Really strange idea for character development, or I guess in this case it'd be character regression, but you have to understand that the timeline still flowed from like when you see her later on in the show as Pink Diamond to happening more forward when she becomes Rose Quartz, and she is Steven's mom. Was there really no way that? Well, I guess if she did keep her physical form, she wouldn't have given her gem to Steven. Steven would have just been a normal boy. That would have been a okay. That would be a cool alternate take. Now that I think about it, like oh, I don't know. She still has a kid with Greg, but he's just a normal human kid because he didn't give her. He did not give him her gem, so they're just a big family. And sometimes Rose takes Steven out, and Greg probably still wouldn't want to take Steven to school, and Rose wouldn't see the consequences of that. Obviously, oh boy. Um. Oh man, I of course I get sidetracked because I really don't. I do not know how to rank Pink Diamond because I remember, generally liking Rose, like, oh, she's a cool person, she's a cool character, and she married Greg, and now they had Steven. It was kind of a sacrificial way to have a kid, but that was what she chose, even if it probably wasn't for the best. And oh no, she shattered Pink Diamond. Well, she had to because she wanted gems to live on Earth freely, which they have every right to. And then she played both sides of the war. She was essentially playing both the diamonds and the crystal gems at the same time. That is what makes me hate her, at least partially. And I do not know. Part of me wants to throw her like here. And part of me is like, hmm. But their character development was in reverse. Oh God. I don't want to put her in A, and I don't want to put her all the way down in F because I don't like despise her with all my being. This one's complicated. We'll at least put her above Andy and C, I guess. This is like when I ranked Heather from Total Drama a few videos back, or a few tier lists back. Probably the last tier list I did. I don't even remember. Like my last tier list was the Keyblades from Kingdom Hearts 1, which I'm probably going to do Kingdom Hearts 2 eventually. I just don't know when. So, yeah. Fine, we'll leave Pink Diamond in C just because I really don't know what else to do with her. White, White's definitely the coolest looking diamond, at the very least. Um, but, wow. That is. Yep, that's his own car. Anyway, I'm just getting distracted because this guy's walking around outside. White Diamond. Oh, definitely better than all the human characters at the very least. She's probably done a lot more damage overall than Pink Diamond did, all things considered. I assume that she made blue, yellow, and pink. Probably blue and yellow at the same time. And then she made pink afterwards. I don't know if pink was undercooked or not. Because some people is like, oh, she's supposed to be red, but she's pink, and I'm like, that's an interesting idea. I wouldn't be surprised because that's what happened with Amethyst. But eh, I, White Diamond's a very interesting character, even though now she just kind of is essentially Grandma Diamond now. I miss the formidable White Diamond that we had in like the last few episodes more than the Grandma Diamond we have now. Just feels like a well-meaning yet kind of ignorant grandmother now. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I get it. Yellow Diamond is my least favorite because she wanted to closer to destroy the planet. And hey, look, I get it. She associates the Earth with the death of Pink Diamond and all that, but dude, you don't have to destroy an entire fucking planet to get revenge on the gems that live on Earth. She's a bit too genocidal. I'm debating if I put her above Donut Man of all people. He is Donut Man to me now. He's not Mayor Dewey or Mr. Dewey. He's Donut Man. Just like what's his face in the Sonic movies that I can't remember his name right now. The live action Sonic movies. Sonic 3 is such a good movie. You should watch it if you haven't. Anyway, let's see. Doesn't it feel like D is too low for Yellow Diamond? Yeah, for some reason, Yellow's my least favorite diamond. And it's not because of her neck. She has a normal neck length in later episodes past her introduction. So you can say they quote unquote fixed it. Designs in the show are never consistent, but who cares? Oh, Mr. Maheshwaran. I think his name is Doug. Pretty. I like him as a dad. He's cool. He's got a security job guarding amusement parks, or just a security guard in general. Enjoyable, fun character. B tier. I wish we saw more of Emerald. Holy hell, I would have loved to see more of Emerald, but because we didn't, I want to throw her an A, and I think I will. Emerald is my favorite villain, and we see so little of her. You know, she would be so cool. It. I know I just now heard recently that Lars of the Stars is a thing, so maybe we'll see more of Emerald than that. Hopefully. I just wish there was more of her besides Lars stole her ship and she wants to take it back, but I love her design. I love, her crazy hair, the fact that one of the gems is her eye. I've always liked that about those characters. But, look, Emerald's a background character I just really, really love, and I wish she was more of a main character. Like like the gems take a little side quest to help Lars get home, and they got to fight Emerald and her army of other gems that are subordinates to her. That would have been a cool side arc. That would have been a really nice side arc. But I'm also an action nut, which I wish this show in general had more action. Not that I hate all the talking points that they had. It's just a bit less towny episodes. That's the only change I would have made to the show. Oh, Fluorite is nice. I probably put Fluorite in C. She's a fusion of at least 6 different gems. I want to say there's a few Paradots and a Sapphire in there, but that's really all I can say. Unless those other triangle gems are not Paradots or. I want to say there's at least one or two paradots and a sapphire in that fusion. And I only say maybe because one of the gems on her head looked like Sapphire's gemstone to me. Even on multiple viewings, I'm like 90% sure she has a sapphire somewhere in there. Although with how many minds are in there and how slow she talks, she probably barely gets to use her future vision if she even has it. But and I know look, I I get that she's supposed to represent a polygamous relationship, but I didn't come to Steven Universe for that. I thought the show was a cool concept, and I wanted to watch it from beginning to end. Despite whatever else was going on or what other themes were there, and I was just there to watch the show and enjoy it. So, as far as Floyd's character, being part of Lars's crew and being the off colors, and I mean, Lars needed a space crew, and Fluoride, she's a big caterpillar grandma, and that's kind of cool. Wish she had a bit more story relevance, but eh. I know she's supposed to represent a polygamous relationship. I'm just not in one. Garnet is my absolute favorite character in the show. S tier, straight up. I love how she's in a relationship with like Ruby and Sapphire, and they fuse into her. She gets all of Ruby's and Sapphire's pluses and minuses, but that's how fusion is. Alexandrite's a little unstable because of that, I would say, but she's stable enough when the gems know what the heck they're doing. Garnet, yeah, sure, she doesn't need to stay permafused all the time. I actually did like that at first, but let's see what else. She has one of my favorite weapons in the show, which are giant gauntlets that she fires like rockets, or she can enlarge their size, and they got big old um brass knuckle upgrades thanks to Bismuth. Thank you so much for that, by the way. Garnet is just a really cool gem. I loved her throughout the entirety of the show. Like, Garnet was what made me want to watch the show. The first episode, well, not the first whole episode, but the first clips I saw were was the episode when Steven daydreamed of how Garnet's solo adventure went, and we got to do the Ronaldo villain thing, and that was a really cute episode, and it showed how close Garnet and Steven were. We'll get to Steven when we get to Steven, but yeah, Garnet being so cool and being so powerful and just his whole package, and uh, I had the feeling Garnet was like his aunt at first. And then I saw the show and I found out, oh, she's just one of his mothers. Which, okay, straight up, Amethyst is not a mother. She's a big sister. Straight up. But yeah, what interested me more was like Garnet. Garnet was so cool. I I loved her fighting style. I loved her access to future vision. I love Ruby and Sapphire's origin story, especially that made Garnet. And then when they decided to stay together as Garnet due to their own choice instead of whatever Pink said, that was even better. I have absolutely no negatives for Garnet. She's what I watched the show for. She was like my favorite character. That bit where she kind of lost focus due to her future vision and adopted the cat, which I forget if the cat is in here. Okay, yeah, Cat Steven is not in here, but whatever. Garnet's always cool. Garnet has been super duper cool and will probably continue to be super duper cool whenever we see her again. And I know she's voiced by Estelle. I knew literally nothing about Estelle going into the show, so Estelle had nothing to do with it, but her performance as Garnet was spot on. I know some people say, oh, she's a singer. She doesn't know about voice acting. She gave a really cool performance. That's all I needed to know. Greg. I personally really like Greg. Uh, yeah, sure. Now I know he's not the best dad in the world. Believe me, I've seen the episodes and, or at least I've seen the clips in future where he and Steven have an argument about everything and how he compares Greg to Big Diamond, and I'm like, well, I guess that's why they were attracted to each other then, huh? Not that I'm saying everything Greg did was for the best. Like, he even tricked his own son into thinking his healing saliva didn't work when it did. And then when they absolutely needed it to work again, it didn't work. Even though he solved the geode problem with duct tape. That is some great shit right there. I've always enjoyed Greg as a character. He's just like, to me, he was like the fun side character that the main characters sometimes hang out with. And he's like the sidekick on the side kind of thing, even though Connie fulfilled that role more later on. I mean, Pink Diamond trusted Greg enough to keep one of her cannons hidden away in his shed, or his storage shed. He probably had to pay a few hundred a month to keep that thing stocked just to keep all that crap in there. And thankfully, Pearl and Amethyst and Garnet sorted through all that for him. Like, I don't know when he would have finally got in there. By the way, Amethyst, not cool. If you know, you know. I don't want to spoil everything, but trust me, this Amethyst and Greg had like some kind of side relationship at some point, and Pearl and Garnet didn't know a thing about it. Now, I don't know what they were doing, but it's probably why Greg had a cat terrier in his shed. Because Amethyst can shapeshift into a cat. And the best way to transport her around, I guess. I don't know what to say about all that. That was a strange discovery. Still kinda is. Did I drop Greg an A minus? And now we'll keep him an A. I did like Greg more than Connie. But Greg's cool. Love how he, you know, taught Steven how to play guitar and tried to give him life lessons, even if he wasn't the smartest man in the world. But no, no dad is perfect. If every pork chop were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs. Hell yeah. Love that saying. Well, Mr. Smiley's one of my favorite townsfolk. He, he's just a funny man, you know? No. Okay, we'll put him in A minus. Mr. Smiley's just this fun guy, you know? He runs like he runs the arcade and the amusement park like practically by himself. This man needs a break. I don't know if he ever started to hire employees for the amusement park or not. I'm trying to rewatch the show, but I haven't gotten far enough to like verify again if he ever hires employees for the park or not. And I just feel real sad for him, you know? Really, really sad. Oh well, what you gonna do? And okay, Jamie, his whole attraction to Garnet, he kind of creeped me out. But see, I don't want to. I will put him in D above Holly Blue, I guess. The whole thing like really made me worry for his mental health. But then he started an improv acting troupe with like Amethyst, Sadie's mom, and I think Peridot, and at least one other person. Oh wait, no, Mr. Smiley was in the acting crew as well. How did he find time to do that? Oh well, I guess he just decided to close down his businesses for the night or something to do that. Hey, he's the boss. He's allowed to close down the business whenever he wants. But yeah, Jamie didn't really have much of a problem with him. Didn't really have too many issues with him. And he was the postman up until he became an actor. He worked under Sadie's mom. Sadie's mom was his boss, right? Tell me I'm not remembering that wrong. I know Jamie was the mailman before he became like an improv actor. I didn't mind him, but I also didn't like him all that much. That whole episode where he was crushing on Garnet really concerned me. Now, I said Aquamarine. Now Jasper is another one of my favorite villains in the show. The only problem is I don't know. Uh, we'll put her below Amethyst. I think I like Amethyst just a teeny tiny bit more than Jasper. But Jasper and Emerald are my favorite villains in the show, all things considered. And I don't know about the rest of you, but Jasper had like the most detailed animation throughout the show. It was always a joy to see Jasper do stuff. Oof. May have neglected some things in the animation budget, but not Jasper. Jasper was always like the most detailed character. I don't know how they did it, but it was like they hired someone just to animate Jasper in like the most detailed way possible. And she was great. She's like a really great villain. Um, I wouldn't say she had an unhealthy obsession with Lapis. She kind of gave up on the Lapis thing after Lapis punched her with the ocean again. Honestly, I thought Jasper like sunk into the Earth's core or something after the island was falling apart and the cluster was emerging, but I guess she found a way out. Maybe she didn't fall that far into the Earth. I don't know. She could have she could have some form of heat resistance like Garnet and Ruby do, but I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't cool how she tried to fuse with Lapis just to destroy the crystal gems, and they made malachite, and but Lapis did get back at her by trapping her under the ocean for months on end. No, the gems didn't know where to find her. They kind of just randomly found malachite again in the middle of the cluster arc, and I was like, I would have rather split those two up, like have a malachite arc and then have a cluster emergence arc instead. But whatever happened, and it was a good bunch of episodes there at the very least. Felt epic at the time. Oh, I thought we had the pizza family all together, but they're kind of split up here. Jenny, didn't. I don't really have any strong feelings on her. I'll just put her above Sadie's mom. She's just she tried to skip out on the pizza job a lot, and that made Kiki have pizza nightmares, which wasn't cool. I think they solved that later in the end, anyway. Even if Steven kind of worked himself ragged. Kevin, probably one of the more important healing characters. It was always fun to see like his and Stefani's rivalry at the very least. Like I didn't mind all that, but I don't have the heart in me to put him above Yellow Diamond. Yellow Diamond is obviously more relevant to the plot than Kevin is. So, guys, a bit of a creep too. Actually, yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll put him below Jenny and Buck. I'll say I am not dissing Granny Fluorite. She's starting to remind me of my grandma. My grandma doesn't look that much like Fluorite. Anyway, Kiki. I like Kiki a tiny bit more than Jenny. Like I'd much rather hang out with Kiki than Jenny, to be quite frank. I hate it when siblings take advantage of their other sibling, and I'm saying that as an only child. I don't know that life, but I said once before I got caught in the middle of two groups of siblings fighting before, and it felt terrible. So that's all I'll say about that. Kofi, he just runs a pizza shop now, I think, since his mother is now the mayor of Beach City. Just I hated how he tried to win volleyball by having by threatening to ground Jenny for hitting the ball, which was really fucking stupid. Eh. He's probably my least favorite of the pizza family, though. What is going on with that man's hair? That is the weirdest mohawk I have ever seen in my life. He was on a volleyball team with Garnet. They worked pretty well together at the very least. Hey, Garnet at least kind of respects Kofi, I guess. And he's named after a money donation platform I don't have access to. Should I even do that? Like, how does that work? Oh well. Now, I know a lot of people have issues with Lapis. I personally don't. And I think Lapis is my favorite gem character. Like, single gem character, just to clear that up. Um, so I'm putting her in S tier with Garnet, but I like Garnet more. Oh, she did these troubling things. Oh, come on. Like, you wouldn't do that? If I were Lapis, I would have done the same fucking thing. I'm, except I would have tried to, after taking her to the bottom of the ocean, I think I would freeze her in a whole block of ice and get away. Yeah, I probably would have a slightly better plan than Lapis if I were Lapis, but oh well. Whatever happened happened. And yeah, she wasn't the nicest to Peridot either, but it also kind of made sense to me because Peridot was trying to interrogate Lapis about information on the Earth, and that was definitely not cool, obviously. So I understood why Lapis was very, very mad at Peridot. I didn't. I remember back then, I'm like, oh yeah, she's being mean, sure, but she's not. It felt kind of deserved. At least just the tiniest bit. I don't know. I guess I like being. I should say I like being malicious. I just not against being malicious to people who have been malicious to me. You know what I mean? So I get it. Yeah, Lapis is not the best character, and she's probably not the best written character, and she got into a trauma dump war with Blue Diamond since Blue Diamond has emotion generated powers, and Lapis was like, dude, your trauma means nothing to me. I've been imprisoned in a mirror for 6,000 years, and you were mourning someone's death for 6,000 years, which I'm sorry she died, but at least you got to have agency over yourself. I was sealed in a mirror and cracked. God, okay. Yeah, and I didn't say I was a good person either, but I, I'd rather not get into that discussion, but I felt like I had to say something. Like, you can't have Lapis's S tier. I can. She's really cool, and y'all gotta cut her at least a bit of a break. Are you saying that you would like being trapped in a mirror for 6,000 years? Hmm? Hmm? Didn't think so. Plus, I really love Lapis's design. Both her first design and her second design are both really cool. Like the gold band she has, like just above her waistline. And she has like sweatpants on in her second look. She kind of reminded me of Aladdin in that look, and which comes back to Kingdom Hearts, and Aladdin's one of the better party members, so yay. Ooh, Lars. Let's see, where do I even go with you? Cause I used to hate Lars with a passion when the show first started. How mean he was to Sadie, even though she was incredibly nice to him. I didn't even care that he was mean to Ronaldo, but I mean, that wasn't nice or good. But he became so much better after he died and became pink. Um, well, Pink Lars, I mean. Pink Lars was so much better. I don't know. No one beats the Donut Man. Yeah, I guess you could say I like Lars more than Yellow. No, wait. That feels right now. Yeah. Yeah, that feels right. Okay. When the show first started, I would have thrown him down here with no hesitation whatsoever, but with all the better stuff he's been doing and the fact that he runs his own bakery and whatnot, or that he at least used to run a bakery and then he left town to do something else, probably to make a bakery elsewhere in a more high profile location. Yeah, sure. I'm okay with putting him in C. He's cool. He's fine. Any issues I had with him are kind of just gone now. I really don't hate him anymore. I don't I don't really like him that much, but I don't hate him anymore. So C tier, makes sense. Lion is a lion with supernatural powers and has a link up to Lars. I like Lion. Lion's cool. He gets B tier just because I think he's a cool lion. Malachite, okay, I know she was born out of malice and hatred, but she was a really cool fusion. At least in, powers and abilities, Jasper and Lapis are incredibly fucking powerful and talented together. Even though I like them both separately more than them together, I have to admit. Um, Actually, no, we'll put her in A minus. She doesn't feel like A, but yeah, we'll put her in the bottom of A minus. That makes sense to me. Malachite was one of the cooler villains. She's a kaiju like Alexandrite. Messed up fusion, but still has cool abilities and powers. It's weird that her hands are also feet, but well, her bottom set of hands are feet. Yeah, that is incredibly weird. I have to say. I'm looking at the computer. I don't know what the camera's showing, but that's Malachite for you. I like Malachite. Oh God, what was it? Marty. Marty. The only reason I'm giving Marty E and not F is because he kind of set up the events of um, the present part of the story when Greg was touring and he ended up in Beach City and fell in love with Pink Diamond and yeah, he was also a freaking he was also a douchebag to his kid, but he did set up. He is at least partially responsible for setting up the events of the story, so I can't entirely hate the guy. Complete douchebag though, for sure. I have no opinion of this guy. Fryman. Uh, I've never really thought once about how much I like this guy. Bottom of C. But he does run a fry establishment and gives Stephen fry bits, even though he probably should be selling them fries. Interesting design, too. Like, is that, like, his aftershave? Is that, like, a mustache? That is the weirdest beard mustache thing I've ever seen, man. He's Greg. You can tell he's kind of supposed to be, like, rugged and shaved. I don't know. Oh god, Mystery Girl. Did we ever get Mystery Girl's name? Some people. No. Did we ever get this girl's name? I wish there was more to her. And she looked really cool too. I was actually wanting to see if Pearl got together with her or not. I think they eventually just chose to be friends and just hang out and talk sometimes, which is fine, but I really wanted to know what was going on between her and Pearl. And we didn't get to see that. And that's like wasted potential to me. It doesn't like ruin her character, but did she even have character besides looking cool? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the lip ring, but not the worst thing ever. Oh, Mayor Nanefwa. My favorite pizza character. I like her more than the characters in C tier, I will say that. She also would say some of the craziest things, too. And she knew how to rally people. Sorry, Donut Man, you're just not cut out to be mayor, but you are cut out to be Mr. Donut Man. Damn it. How am I putting you above Andy? Yeah, yeah sure, okay. I'm like, yeah, not F1, B. Yeah, sure, 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 sure. Makes sense, sure. Oh, Nephrite, I remember you more as Centipedal, but you're cool. You're actually really fun. I wish we got to see more of this Nephrite. But yeah, she's my favorite corrupted gem because we actually got character development out of her as a corrupted gem. She became friends with Steven even when she was corrupted. It shows that the corrupted gems still can think and have emotions. I mean, I get that the crystal gems were like sealing them away to protect humans because they'd probably get themselves killed if they encountered one, but I think Nephrite also showed that the corrupted gems do have the capacity for at least some advanced understanding and at least the brain capacity of a pet or an animal. They understand feelings and emotions, so she even made other centipedal friends when they put her back in the wild. I loved her being like little and cute, but then she's this. And her gemstone is a Pokeball. I love that. Well, it's also her eye, but it's a Pokeball. Uh, okay, Game Freak, make a neon ball just to reference Nephrite. She is my favorite corrupted gem. Actually, no, put her above Malachite. Put her above Mr. Smiley. Fuck it. Yeah, that feels right. Yeah. Actually, I do like her more than Connie. Greg Hard blocks Nephrite though. I'm like top of no, no, no. I mostly know her as the cute little centipedal and like the long creature centipedal, but you know, I if there's one thing that I wish they would do in Steven, if there was something that I wish they did in Steven Universe Future is like give Nephrite an episode just to show us what she was doing after she got healed. Unless she just chose to go back to Homeworld, and I like missed her cameo or something. But I always get off track with these. It's like I say what I want to say, and I feel like I have to say more, and then yeah. But but Nephrite is cool. I really like Nephrite. Obsidian, fucking love Obsidian. Um, yeah, the Kaiju fusion. We should have gotten at least one more Obsidian appearance in Steven Universe Future. Or I could see Obsidian like destroying the giant injector in the movie. And yeah, the movie was good for sure. It's just what we got with Obsidian was great. But one of the things I wanted to see after I saw Obsidian was a direct matchup between Obsidian and White Diamond. Just a head to head, no holds barred clash. I mean, she might have tried to like immediately take over Obsidian with her mind beam or whatever, but I, I feel like being like 10% human from Steven would have at least helped her resist it. Or, I wanted to at least try to make Obsidian fight White Diamond when I heard that the Temple fusion was like a reconstruction of all the crystal gems fused together. Rose, Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl. I would have loved to see that fight happen. Just big old massive sword swing. Oh, I don't know. I always thought Obsidian and White Diamond were pretty close in size. I don't know, honestly, she could be a lot taller, and I'm just freaking out over nothing. But I was very sure that White Diamond and Obsidian were at least kind of close in size. Like maybe White Diamond's a little bit smaller, but being a little bit smaller doesn't necessarily mean that you lose the fight either. You know, she was just she is my second favorite fusion. The only reason Garnet is my favorite is because of all the story and how we saw her grow as a character since season one. I just thought she was the coolest fucking thing in the show, man. And the fact that she's part of Obsidian, just well, pretty much. I love pretty much all the Garnet fusions. That is something to be said as well. But it, I guess you'd call me fan of. I guess you could also call me a fan of giant women in kaiju form as well. I don't know. Oh God, Onion. Never liked this kid. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say. I don't understand him. I cannot wrap my head around the existence that is Onion. Oh, his mom and dad aren't even in the tier list. Oopsie. Opal, the fusion of amethyst and pearl. She wasn't one of my favorite fusions, but I did like her. I wish we got to see more of her too. I mean, I know she has a good singing voice. Apparently, she's really forgetful. I don't know why that was a character highlight, but it was. I guess we could put Opal above Lion. Yeah, I like Amethyst more than Opal. I said it. I don't know, just the giant nose, man. It, it just looks weird to me. Why do you have to have a schnoz that big? Oh, all the pearls. I like Blue Pearl. Blue Pearl's kind of cool. She likes to draw, and that's neat. I don't want to put you above Granny Fluorite, though. Volleyball, which we got to see a lot more of in future. She only had a cameo in no, she only had a cameo in the main series. She didn't appear at all in the movie that I remember, and she had a whole episode dedicated to her in future and how Pink Diamond was bad to her. And her hair looks like cinnamon buns, like Princess Leia, and I kind of like that. In volleyball, you don't beat Lion, but I do like you a fair bit, and what you revealed about Pink Diamond's past and whatnot. I hope you're doing better nowadays. I never did quite know if this cracked side just kind of healed up or not. They they always hit it. The main pearl and the best pearl. Let's see. I don't know where I would have put her before, but I did not like Pearl that much when the show first started. It was only after like the Pink Diamond reveal that I started feeling kind of bad for Pearl and like, oh man, no wonder you were such a hard ass. Eh, I don't want to put her above Aquamarine though. Let's see. Um, yeah, Pearl's a B tier character for me. Like, yeah, she's always been an important member of the team. I always felt she was way too obsessed with Rose. Which kind of led to her downfall emotionally wise, but I also don't really blame her because she was supposed to do whatever she could to keep Pink Diamond happy. Which I guess she thought she failed her job, and that's why she was really sad when Pink or Rose gave up her form to give birth to Steven. And then she became Bird Mom. I will never forget that. And her spear looks a lot better as a trident. She really should have kept that thing on more often. Oh, it adds more weight. Yeah, but it looks cooler. That's all I need to know personally. I like Pearl. 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 Be more Pearl. Yeah, I always was like, why is Pearl getting so much of the spotlight? And then I found out later why. I was like, for some reason I thought she got more spotlight than Garnet and Amethyst when I wanted to see more of these two. I was like, Pearl, take a back seat. We need these two to start. Ugh. Yeah, I didn't like Pearl very much when the show started. I got to like her more as the show continued, but I always felt she was like, I don't want to use the word salty, but they're like, dude, you need to chill, Pearl. Like actually chill. She's far more chill now than she used to be when the show first started. I will say that. And she may not be like like entirely over Rose, but she's a lot better than she used to be. Pearl, and her name's just fun to say. Pearl. Oh, and Yellow Pearl wants to be a supermodel, but I'm not the biggest fan of her design, and I'm not. Yeah, we'll put her there. Oh wait, no. Oh wait. Yeah, okay. Now she looks like an onion. She looks more like an onion than Onion does. He looks like a peach, kind of. Is there a peach onion? Whatever. Petey. They said he was the youngest character in the show, and honestly, he's more mature than his older brother. Like him experiencing depression about not enjoying things as a kid anymore, I think happened way too soon in his life. I enjoyed a lot of my favorite things for a long time. Still kind of do on a few things. Um, Petey. But I do genuinely like him. I think he's a nice character to. I actually think he's a nice character. But I can't put him above Granny Fluorite. Granny Fluorite, man. I respect her. Now, Peridot. Nice shades improvement, I will say that. She was the first new member to the team as well. I don't know, she's definitely not C. She is much better than C. I actually related a lot to her, but I can't put her above Nephrite, and that's very biased. I enjoyed the Centipede character a lot more than Peridot. And even though I related a lot to Peridot, and I would have probably handled a lot of things the same way as her, I think I would have been a lot more sensitive to like Garnet's fusion thing, though, unless I was that deeply rooted into the gem culture. But I always, yeah, I like almost every member of the Crystal Gem team more than Pearl, even now. Yeah, I do like Bismuth more too. I guess we'll see how I feel about Steven when that time comes, but I genuinely did want to see a Lapis Peridot fusion happen. I thought that would have been really, really nice. Okay, nothing's happening. But yeah, I do like her. Peridot is a neat character, and I wish there was more of her. Um, she had one episode in future. I was hoping for a bit more character than what we got, even though it was just about the whole Camp Pining Hearts thing, which I swear is a total drama reference. But apparently it didn't really plan out, or didn't really work exactly that way. It was like a different kind of show than Total Drama, but I got Total Drama vibes when I heard of Camp Pining Hearts. Connie's mom, Priyanka. I like Connie's dad more, but eh, yeah, I'll just put them together. I mean, she had to deal with a corrupted gem in the middle of a hospital and actually tried to diagnose Steven's pink outburst, so she does try her best, and even if doctoral things aren't the way to solve it, she at least puts her best foot forward to solve the problem, and that's cool. She's probably a lot more resourceful than her husband, come to think of it, but I'm kind of used to that dynamic in shows by now. The wife is clearly smarter when it knows what's going on. The dad is the one that doesn't know anything. Yeah, tried and true, but sometimes you can make it work. And Pumpkin immediately goes to S tier because Pumpkin is way too cute. Anyway, Rainbow 1.0. I wish there was more of her than that dance sequence. But I can't ignore how good her design is. I'll put her right there. Would have loved to see her version of the parasol weapon. That would have been really sick. And Rainbow 2.0? Oh my god. Male Mary Poppins right here. Not my favorite Steven Fusion, but the guy's cool. So whimsical and like Okay, I'm pretty sure he gets that from Pearl. Except like Steven's positivity comes through and just amps it up so much more. I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna put him above Connie. He's so cool. And he's got like Pearl's little jacket that she wears now, and honestly, love this whole design. And I keep calling Rainbow 2.0 a he just because he sounds like a man. Okay. Which is weird because I would say Pearl's like the most feminine gem, and yet when she fuses with Steven, we get the only, well, not the only male gem fusion, but the only male crystal gem fusion, if you know what I mean. Um, oh, Rhodonite. Not my favorite off, not my favorite off color, but I like her. Uh, yeah, she's made out of a ruby and pearl. I don't know if our pearl and our ruby or crystal gem pearl and crystal gem ruby would make a Rhodonite as well, but I wouldn't be surprised. Uh, hey, at least it's an answer to the question. Like, I don't know if like they thought of every possible gem fusion the crystal gems could make because we don't even get to see all the possible combinations. I wish there was at least an episode like highlighting that. You know, we get like brief demonstrations of what a bunch of them could do. Yeah, well, I think Garnet is more put together than Rhodonite is, but I don't have an issue with Rhodonite at all. It's just another case of, yeah, the design is cool, the backstory of how they used to serve a Morganite and then were kind of forced to leave when they were caught fusing. Cool that they escaped getting immediately shot down and killed and like whatnot, but now they live on Earth to just live their life as Rhodonite, and that's cool. I hope they get some time to split up and be themselves on occasion. But that pearl looks very different from all the other pearls we've seen. Ronaldo. I mean, he's done some really crazy stuff, but I also don't entirely hate the guy. He, I do not like Onion at all. Ronaldo, I'm at least kind of amused by on occasion, even though he went way too far in his obsession with the Sneeple. He rightfully deserved to get beat up by Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl, but Steven was trying to help him feel better, and he immediately fell for like a really crappy disguise. Was he just like, oh, it's time, and just knocked him the fuck out, just cause? I'm sorry, Ronaldo. I he's a character that could be better, but he's also incredibly overbearing. I he has way more minuses than pluses. I am with the fan base on that, but I'm I'm sorry, I'm just not a Ronaldo fan. Actually, yeah, Marty, you kind of deserve that higher spot a little bit more than him. Oh, the Ruby Squad. Like you get half of them, and then Crystal Gem Ruby, and then the other half, and then uh, oh, the big Ruby fusion that attacked Rose. I think not the Mega Ruby fusion that was like the other six rubies here. Um, Army is aggressive and angry, I guess. I do like the Ruby Squad. They're cute. Doc, her gemstones in her chest. I like her shades. Eyeball. This one's actually involved in the plot a fair bit. She fused with Aquamarine to make Bluebird Azurite to try to fight Steven, which failed miserably. But, you know, nice side episode. And actually, it was like a part of the trial, too. You know, I uh, yeah, you're you're my favorite Ruby. You actually have plot relevance. The other rubies are just rubies. Oh, Crystal Gem Ruby is probably my overall favorite Ruby. We got so many fucking rubies in this show, man. And you're also a part of Garnet. You're her strength. You're her power. You're her fire. You are exactly half of Garnet. I'm gonna put you there. You're cool. You're straight up cool. Leggy. You're the cutest little ruby. You get that point. Actually, no. You're the cutest ruby, so you get bottom of B tier. Navy. Not very smart, but was able to pull a quick one on Steven Peridot and Lapis to get her ship back. Probably to regroup with all the other rubies and make it back to Homeworld for a report to the Diamonds. Even though their initial job was just to get, try to find out what the heck happened to Jasper, but, hey, even through all of that, she still kept, like, a happy face and was still somehow able to convince Peridot. I thought Peridot and Steven both fell for it a little too soon. Even I fell for her trick. God, I am a lot like Lapis, aren't I? Shit. Like, hey, I told you to. You didn't want to believe me. But that's what happened. And Pumpkin's just cuteness incarnate, man. But I can't put her above Lapis and Garnet. I'm sorry. But she is that cute, though. Come on. I forget if Pumpkin's a boy or a girl, and now I'm confused. Pumpkin's one of the cutest things in existence, regardless. Yeah, you think rubies are dumb, and then this ruby pulls a fast one on some of the main cast members. That's cool, man. Oh, I remember this one now. This is like the super ruby fusion that Ruby team made. It's just a really big ruby. No, you're better than Kofi. You're just a really big ruby. That's all I have to say about you. And you are the B group. You're the ruby that um, I don't know. I don't know. You're just a big ruby that got knocked out by rose quartz. Three rubies and it doesn't even remotely equal. Well, that was pink diamond, so I guess that makes sense. And these two are the Rutile twins, which I don't really have any thoughts about at all. They were there. They were part of Lars's crew. They were helpful and smart, I guess. I, I didn't pay much attention to them. But yeah, Rutile twins are just to me. They're like, yeah, you're just there. I'm sorry. I don't know. I just didn't get much of an impression from them, you know. Oh, but Sadie, I like. Sadie, I like a fair bit. Um, Actually, probably not A minus. Sadie grows so much throughout the course of the show, though. I think we can all agree on that. Um, I'll put Sadie above Connie's parents and below Blue Diamond. Yeah, she goes through a lot of changes and developments throughout the show, and I know it all involves Lars, but she thought she liked Lars. Lars didn't like her back. She got really angry about it, and then they eventually just decided it was better off that they stay friends. And then she got a new relationship with someone named Shep that again, I'm not sure how to handle pronouns sometimes. This is just a me thing. Shep is a they. Shep's pronoun is they, right? So I just get like grammatically mixed up when it comes to that, like epically. Um, is that, I mean, hey, I'm happy Sadie got a new relationship that she's super into and invested in, even though she split the band up to leave Beach City after that, which, that band arc was a really fun arc, at least to me. Had fun with it. Ooh, Sapphire. No, wrong Sapphire. This Sapphire. Um, I'm gonna put you slightly above Ruby, but not like massively above Ruby. You're the other half of Garnet. You're the future vision. You are the brains of the operation. Or at least I link Sapphire to being the brains of the operation. I want to say Sapphire took over leading the Crystal Gems, even though Garnet was the leader after Pink, Diamond, Rose left. You'd think it would have been Pearl, but Pearl is so messed up. Kind of just left it down to Garnet, you know? Sapphire's cool. Because she also has ice powers, too, and she's, like, incredibly fast, so she's probably also what makes Garnet agile and quick. Ruby's the strong part, and Sapphire's the quick part. I don't know how combining fire and ice turns into electricity. That should be water. We already got a water gem, so who cares? These two are my favorite same gender couple ever, and they make the same, and they make my favorite overall character in the show. So I love these two a lot. That's what that comes down to. Pat Parash is just like the cute character of the off colors and Lars's crew. Her future vision's kind of off, but it still highlights some parts of the situation no one really knows about, so it is useful in that way. And Sapphire has the gem in her palm. She has her gem at the back of her hand. This side of her hand. Uh, I gotta admit, I do like her more than Granny Fluorite. And probably Rhodonite, yeah. Uh, yeah, I guess that makes Pad Paracha Sapphire my favorite off color. She's cool, man. I even like her more than Lars. I actually like her design. Her hair's all different. She probably is still a. She probably still has only one eye like Sapphire does. I don't know why they hide that. It doesn't even look that off in the animation at all. Even though Sapphire's eye is kind of varied in size in different parts of the show too. Okay, yeah, that is one thing in Steven Universe that's a little bit off-putting. I have to agree, but it doesn't ruin the show either. So I don't care. And Sardonyx is one of the cooler fusions. The only hard part is, do I rank her above Alexandrite or not? Because the thing with Alexandrite versus Sardonyx for me is like it really depends on my mood. Because I think Sardonyx is really, really fun as a character. I wish she got more talking appearances and roles than she did. I don't know if it was a budget thing or whatever, but she's great. Sardonyx is one of the best characters in the show, bar none. Even though I do like other, like, and she has the Deadpool thing of where she actually talks to the people outside of the screen. At least she, she's aware of it. She's aware of people watching the show. That's the impression I got when we saw Sardonyx's room inside the temple, and she turned it into a whole talk show for Smoky Courts. That's one of my favorite side episodes. It wasn't exactly plot relevant, but it's just one of those, fun episodes they come up with to like have fun with the characters and have them just talk. And that can be great, and Sardonyx did a really good job of carrying that episode. But I also really like how Alexandrite is just a big kaiju woman and can just smash people, and it just makes sense. trying to think about it. Yeah, B feels a little low for sardonyx. Oh yeah, we're okay. Yeah, we're gonna put them next to Ruby and Sapphire, and Ruby and Sapphire are part of that fusion. It's a Ruby, Sapphire, and Pearl fused together, which is all cool. It's all cool, and I love her hammer. It is very fun, and can turn into a drill for some reason. How come Sardonyx couldn't drill to the Earth's core? Well, she doesn't have armor plating. There is that. There is that. Even though she probably has rubies. She's probably heat proof like Ruby and has Sapphire's ice powers on top of that. I don't know. Sardonyx is really cool, though. Straight up cool. Um, Speaking of Smokey, Smokey is. The Smokey Quartz is one of the. I like to say I like Smokey more than Rainbow 2.0, but she also doesn't feel like A minus material to me. Weird. This is when Steven and Amethyst fuse, and you can clearly tell the Amethyst part of the fusion right now. She's got Steven's black hair. And I love the yo-yo tricks a lot. I feel that's more impressive than like the parasol stuff. Put her above Peridot. Yeah, and Nephrite's gatekeeping A minus here. I don't know if I gotta like reevaluate what I feel like is A minus or B. I don't know, but I love how Smokey was handled in the show. Got more than enough appearances, if you ask. No, just enough appearances. Smokey appeared often enough. And she also showed how Steven's pink powers can work in the fusions involving Steven. So, Rainbow could use the pink power up. Sunstone should be able to use it too. Actually, no, Sunstone's the Deadpool character. I think Sardonyx is, like, aware it's a TV show, clearly because of, like, footage courtesy of Cartoon Network. Haha. Which, if Steven Universe was on another network, it'd be like, footage provided by Disney, footage provided by Nickelodeon, footage provided by the Hub, or whatever other network there is out there. I don't know at this point, man. Sardonyx would have been cool regardless, though. And yeah, I like Smoke. I like Smokey and Sardonyx kind of the same amount. And these two would make Obsidian if they decided to dance. You are one quarter human, I think. Like you're not entirely light energy, but Smokey said she has no advanced like special skills like how Opal has like archery skills, or how Alexandrite has fire breath, or how Sugalite is like incredibly freaking strong. I'm like, dude, she could summon wind tornadoes with her yo-yos. That is definitely a special tactic you should have shown off there. We didn't get to see those tornadoes again after that. That is one thing the show kind of fails to do. Like, Pearl can shoot lasers from her spear, which she doesn't always do. Garnet can shoot off her fists like rockets, which she doesn't always do. And okay, yeah, Amethyst shapeshifts constantly. She always does that though, but she doesn't always light her whips on fire. Come on, man. I would be lighting my whips on fire all the time if I were Amethyst. I think about all this now. It's like another side complaint I kind of have. Like, I do agree. They sometimes forgot some people had certain powers, and Smokey. Smokey's clearly a character I do like. Like, Smokey Quartz was a big showstopper when she showed up, and she held that character in all of her other appearances as well. I'm not quite sure if she's supposed to be larger than Garnet. Again, the show scale is very off, but whatever. It still worked out. And Spinel was such a cool villain. Just for being a really cool villain, though. Oh no, you are not better than Ruby and Sapphire. Hell no. Yeah, Jasper and Emerald are my favorite villains, but I guess we could say Spinell's like my bronze medal for villains on this show. She was so fun to watch in action with her super stretchy limbs and her awesome sight that she temporarily had before Steven confiscated it and like had Bismuth look at it. And usually I'm not a fan of pink, but you know, dark pink, my favorite kind of pink. So good. Um, she moves exactly like the old rubber hose cartoons. That was a whole design choice, and it just works. Oh, sorry. And now Spinell lives on Homeworld with the diamonds, and they don't bother Steven that much anymore because of that. Steven wanted nothing to do with the diamonds after he healed the corrupted gems. Even though, yeah, he kind of had to go back to say, hey, yo, gems who are fighting into war, it's over. There's no evil to fight. We don't have anyone to fight anymore. And then she shows up because Pink left her behind. And that immediately makes me want to drop. But that was early Pink Diamond. And she tried to do that to grow up as a person, but I can't justify that. Yeah, but you wanted to destroy an entire planet just because your sister died on it. Uh, hey, at least you have lightning zappy zap powers. But Spinell's way more fun. She's like a super fun villain. Her song was super catchy. I've heard myself thinking about it on occasion, even after I stopped watching the show routinely enough. Spinell was great. Really great villain for the movie. Really showed how Pink was. I don't even want to say morally gray. Sometimes I feel like Pink Diamond was just evil before making the crystal gems, or before she met Pearl. I don't know if it was like Pearl that made her want to rebel or not, or at least that's. I think she eventually came up with the idea when Yellow and Blue would not listen to anything she really said. That she made up rose quartz and blah, 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 and everything is as it is now. Okay, Steg. Fusion is not sex. I mean, it might be for Ruby and Sapphire, but fusion can mean a multitude of different things. Oh, what, does that make Malachite hate sex or something? People are crazy. But I really, really like Steg. I love his singing voice. I love his overall look. My God, yeah, I think he just looks like that because Steven and Greg love each other a lot. Because the fusion is a culmination of both the components put together. And the closer a relationship they have, the more stable the fusion is, which made Malachite incredibly unstable. And my Alexandrite was unstable for a while because the Crystal Gems as a team were kind of all over the place. Even if they all loved Steven. But, you know, Steven and Greg, they were a pair, and that really came out through Steg to me. He was one of my favorite fusions just because he was a really cool guy. But I would not put Steg above Obsidian because Obsidian is so much cooler than Steg is. I loved the song that they played together, which was Independent Together. Probably my overall favorite part of the movie was Steg Multiverse being made. And more human than Gem, but he still had two sets of arms, which, God, I wish I could do that. God, I've fused with Steven, no. No questions asked. Like, dude, you need me to back you up. I will be your fusion partner, man. I don't know what we'll make, but hopefully it's what you need. And their two guitars actually became like a double hinged guitar. Are there actual guitars like that in real life, or is that just a design choice they did because fusion? Either way, Steg is really cool. I wish we got to see more of him. Hell, I would have even loved to see him fight. Like actually, have him pull some SpongeBob Goopy Goober guitar lasers or something like that. That would have been awesome. And we finally hit our main character, Stephen Courts. Wait, Stephen Cutie Pie DeMayo Courts Diamond Universe? I don't know how he called himself that, and I don't want to look it up right now. Our main character, though, was not my favorite character. I liked him. Uh, I feel like he at least deserves an A. Just, yeah, every other character that's above him, I like more than him. So, I don't think I can justify. Yeah, I didn't really like Greg. I liked Greg about the same amount as Steven, to be fully honest. Um, when the show first started, I didn't like him too much, but he grew smarter and became a lot less annoying as the show developed. Like he was just a kid at first, and the more things he got involved in, the more he got smarter. Even if it didn't really help him after the fighting ended and he became a giant kaiju on his own. Like, geez, Pink, could you always turn into a giant monster like that? You should have done that. Like, like Steven corrupted himself on accident with like the pink power up he was getting. He couldn't really control it, even though it made him stronger. Which is why he went to Jasper, but then he shattered Jasper, and then he fixed Jasper, and Jasper's like, my diamond. I'm like, no, that's the last thing Steven wants to hear right now. He is going through some crap right now. Like, I don't know how much we have to give him space. I don't know. I've never dealt with a traumatic person, or I think even had that much trauma myself, so I cannot speak to that. But Steven clearly needed help, and he wasn't getting it for much of his life. Even though the others were trying to help him, he kept shutting them out. I think he even shut Connie out at least a little bit. And he was really trying hard to fix everyone's problems because he thought he had to be around to fix everyone's problems, and he ended up leaving due to that. And dude, I don't even know. I genuinely do not know what else to say about Steven. It's just and he took a while to master his powers, which of course he should. Some people called him like a Mary Sue or Gary Stu character. I did not see that at all. Like, dude, if he was a Mary Sue Gary Stu, everyone would always agree with him all the time. He'd be the most powerful character on the show, bar none. I would say. Huh. I have to work on my one of my own stories now that I say that out loud. Anyway, yeah, he's as the titular character of the show, I'd say he's still a really good character. He's not my favorite, but he's pretty up there still. Honestly, I thought I would have dropped him in B, but when I compare everyone else below him to him, it's like no, I like Steven more than all of them. He did not deserve any of the crap that Pink Diamond didn't clean up before he was born. Hell, he shouldn't even have been the one cleaning it up. You know, it it really ruined his perspective on things. And yeah, Greg and the Gems probably didn't raise him right. I agree with that judgment, even though they were doing their best for him that they thought they knew how. Good intentions paved the road to hell and all that. Dude, I don't know. There's so much to talk about Steven. I don't think I'm qualified to talk about because I've never had that many mental I haven't had that kind of mental instability in my life that I can think of. Usually, when I have a mental instability, it's due to being involved in a situation, and once I leave it, it tends to go away. Uh, well, there's a deep dive into my psyche. I didn't even think he was like this high, but I knew I liked him more than everyone else here, so would I have to do any rearrangement? I have absolutely no clue. But I do really like Stevani as well. Probably more than Steven himself, actually, so we'll put him them. Excuse me. We'll put them above Steven. I said him immediately because I was hovering over Steven. Stevani just feels like upgraded Steven. Like straight up. Even though it's just Steven and Connie fused together. And yes, I still like Steg more than Stevani. Even though Stevani has way more screen time, has a lot more stuff going on. Dang, Stevani had both Sadie and Lars crushing on them. I guess you could. Yeah, they really tried to make them as androgynous as possible, and I think it worked. Even though Stevani's midsection made me think more of a woman, and kind of the clothes too, but her face kind of looks like a man. Stevani can grow facial hair. Usually has the typically long hair associated with females. Yeah, body shape seemed more female, even though the face kind of was more male. I don't even know what I'm saying about that, but yeah, Stevani is a really cool fusion. Pretty cool character. Stevani was the one who had the dream about Pink Diamond, to be honest. Like, hey, Pink Diamond and Rose Quartz may be gone, but their memories live on inside of Steven's gem at the very least. I'm not sure how else he would have found out about Pink Diamond's memory. Like, maybe they're in there in some kind of backup, but I would assume that unless Steven died, like I don't know, maybe the day Steven actually expires because of old age, then maybe after that Pink Diamond can come back. But would she have the memories of Steven inside of her then? And then that becomes a whole other ordeal. Like, who? And Greg's going to be long gone by that point, I'm sure. Wow. That'll be a whole thing for Pink Diamond to try and deal with when she comes back. Or, or I guess Rose, because she reassembled her identity into Rose after that. And that's why she had Pearl Poofer. I know that. I assume that's why she had Pearl Poofer. So she could reassemble herself into Rose Quartz on a permanent basis and hide her identity as Pink Diamond. Like, the forms are still in the gem, and boy, that's just a whole other thing. I am getting massively sidetracked again. Let's move on. And Sugalite is one of my favorite fusions of all time. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. So, okay. Sugalite has such little screen time, though. We get 2 episodes in the first series. Didn't appear in the movie whatsoever, and then a cameo appearance where she shapeshifted into Steven. Sugalite deserved far more than that. I mean, yeah, Nicki Minaj voiced her, but you could have had, like, someone who can impersonate her come in if Sugalite had to talk. And Sugalite she essentially got benched permanently until she had that bit in Future after Garnet and Amethyst probably both changed his characters by then, so. Yeah, she's not benched anymore. Good to know, but it is criminal how little we saw Sugalite. So goddamn cool. I mean, I'm like, yeah, Opal's cool, but Sugalight's goddamn cool. I love the big old wrecking ball. I mean, I know Alexandrite can use it, but she's not Sugalight. I wish I had a full body pic of her right now, but she's like the she's easily one of the best gem fusions in the whole show. Pretty much every gem fusion I said was one of the best ones has Garnet in it. Because Sugalite is when Garnet and Amethyst decide to poof together and like literally poof. Their fusion dance is very strange. Fun to try though. And yeah, I mean, it should have taken more than Pearl making her flail thing fall on her head to defuse her, but Garnet and Amethyst did say they had a headache. I just thought that was caused by the thing falling on Sugarlight's head, which then caused them to defuse. Oh, and Ruby and Sapphire can even hold their fusion through a headache, which just goes to show you how good they are at it. They probably barely even have to think about it. And when Garnet had enough of Sardonyx, yo, Amethyst, we're going Sugalite, we're destroying this thing for good. Like, Sugalite does not need her giant flail to hit hard. She destroyed the tower just by winding up both of her, or two of her hands, and boom, right into it, toppling the whole thing over in one punch. She could have done that back then, but no, she wanted to bring out her weapon just to show off for Steven, and it's like, yeah, she has a big temper. She has a huge personality, but I want to say under that she is like still a good person because she wanted to make Steven happy and all that. But I don't know. I'm just being speculative at that point. Maybe Sugalite's just attitude for the sake of having attitude, but she makes it work so fucking well, man. And now we get Sunstone, the actual Deadpool of the franchise, which you know I don't know. All right, there. I want to put Sunstone right at the top of A tier. Yeah, a lot of people don't like Sunstone's design. I think it's awesome. Big, burly fire hands and okay. I I don't like that she said Bunga Kawa. That doesn't sound right to me at all. But everything else about her is spot on. Both like small Steven, both of like the smaller Steven and the teenage Steven, both designs work very well. Even though I prefer her just having the red shirt instead of the jacket. Could have just changed it to the black shirt and I would have been happier with it, but that's me getting sidetracked. Sunstone is cool. Straight up. Like, bar none, one of the best fusions. And yes, it's part of it is because Garnet's in it, and it's because of how Sunstone got an actually prominent role in future. I actually saw that, and I, yeah, at first I thought I liked Sugalite more, but I guess I do like Sunstone more than Sugalite. Yeah, every Garnet fusion ranks very highly to me. Obviously, like every fusion that involves Garnet, I guess except Alexandrite is like high ranked because Garnet's cool, and that coolness just leaks off into whatever gem she fuses with in some way. Like Garnet, something I'm realizing about Garnet. She amplifies whoever she fuses with in like such a cool way. Like with Sugalite, she brings out Amethyst's I want to say carefree side because initially Sugalite just felt like a very tall amethyst, or like Pearl likes to show off and be whimsical sometimes and all that. Garnet brings that out of Pearl when they fuse into Sardonyx. She's like an over personified version of whoever she fuses with, and that is such a cool thing about Garnet. When she fuses with Steven, you get to see like this, you know, upbeat kind of mascotty kind of thing, which amplifies Steven's usual positivity combined with Garnet and like how she and how they're an experience that makes them both want to do better and kind of support everyone around them, which is also what Steven likes to do as well. Put that together, you get the ultimate moral support person. And and Sunstone's weapon isn't like a yo-yo that they can use as like a melee weapon, or like, where's Rainbow 2.0, or a freaking parasol that you can ride like a witch's broom or whatever. You probably still use that thing as like a sword if you try, but Sunstone's the Sunstone is freaking suction cups. Interesting weapon idea. I would say if Sunstone had to get into a physical fight with someone, she would do just fine. But they use her more for her fourth wall breaking persona, which is something that I always like in a character. Like I no, fuck it. Sunstone's in the bottom of S tier. Just because I like Lapis and Pumpkin more. Pumpkin's too fucking cute, dude. It's so sad. It is so sad that Pumpkin's not in Future at all. I don't even think Pumpkin was in the movie. Poor Pumpkin. Wait, do we even see Pumpkin after the barn falls on Blue Dot? Oh no. Oh no. You, Lapis, tell me you didn't kill Pumpkin. It's probably unintentionally, but still. Pumpkin! No. Yeah, Sunstone. Yeah, back to the point. Sunstone is a great character, and honestly, it shows how Garnet tends to make everyone she fuses with just. I don't know if I want to say over personified version of themselves, but uh, it like brings out their personality more when she fuses with them. You know, that's something I think is real cool. I forgot we still had some characters down here. Topaz. There was a tier list that I found that had like the two Topazes separately and then Topaz together, and I'm just like, they're both, all three are Topaz. Topaz did want to like turn over a new leaf, but she didn't have the willpower to like take down Aquamarine. Uh, I guess you'd be Blue Pearl, but not Petey. And Topaz was a cool gem. I don't want to understate that. Topaz is a neat gem. Bury. I almost thought Topaz was a dude when I first saw her too, and then I heard her talk, and I was like, "Oh, right, gems are female. They present as female, so they're all gonna have female voices, right?" Topaz had me curious, like genuinely though. So if I have to highlight something about Topaz besides their whole arc, it's wait, a man, and then oh, okay, and their gems are where their ears should be. Funnily enough, I don't think we ever see ears on a gem. Come to think of it, like wherever the hairs, wherever the ear should be, it's hidden by their hair. Every gem seems to not have ears. Even Rutile. Look at that. How do gems hear? Let's see. And the two Zircons, okay, blue Zircon definitely deserves a higher rank to me than yellow Zircon at least. Oh, well, maybe not that high up though. Um, Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yellow Zircon, I mean, looking so fucking snooty. No, I'm not a fan of snooty. But Blue Zircon was actually the first person to question what the how did Pink Diamond how was Pink Diamond killed? There's like no way that should have happened. Realistically, if you look at all the evidence. And she said that in front of Blue and Yellow Diamond, which then she's like, one of you must have done it. And Yellow Diamond's like, yeah, no, shut up. And then takes out the other Zircon, which I was happy to see them get zapped. I was getting real tired of Yellow Zircon being all snooty. I'm not a fan of snooty characters. Yeah, I think this is just one quick re-review. Ugh, Onion. Crazy kid, dude. I am not for that at all. Anyone I want to move from A minus to A? Or... I'll bump enough right up to like there. Yeah. Okay. Now it is balanced. Balanced as all things should be. Like there's definitely a difference between A and A minus for me now that I'm looking at it, so I'm just gonna keep it that way. S I try to reserve for my absolute most favorite characters, and I think that makes sense there. Actually, no. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that does make sense then. Okay. I just think I just ramble off at the end. I never know how to end tier list videos, really. Well, I'll work from. Yeah, this is just how I feel about everyone. I literally have no opinion on these characters, even though I've seen them. Like, like they're so in the background, I don't even know what to say. And I genuinely haven't played the game that these two are in, so I'm just gonna leave them there. Like I don't know if I would hate them or not, you know. All right, so with everyone I do know, S tier, Garnet, Lapis, Pumpkin, and Sunstone. People people may not like Sunstone. I personally really do. A tier, Amethyst, Obsidian, Sugalite, Steg, Multiverse, Jasper, Stevani, Steven, Emerald, Greg, and yeah, Nephrite. A minus here, kind of a new thing for me. Smoky Quartz, Peridot, Rainbow 2.0, Sapphire, Ruby, Sardonyx, Spinel, Connie, Mr. Smiley, my favorite townsperson, and Malachite. B. Aquamarine, Bismuth, Alexandrite, Pearl, Opal, Lion, Volleyball, or Pink Pearl, whatever you want to call her, Eyeball, Padparasha, Rainbow Quartz 1.0, Blue Diamond, Sadie, Doug and Priyanka, Nanefwa, Rhodonite, Leggy, and Navy. C. White Diamond, Donut Man, I mean Mayor Dewey, I mean Donut Man, Pink Diamond, Andy, Yellow Diamond, Blue Zircon, Lars, Granny Fluorite, Petey, Topaz, Blue Pearl, Doc, Army, Buck, Kiki, Jenny, Yellow Pearl, Mega Ruby, Kofi, Kevin, both the Rutile twins, I guess. Do people rank those two any differently? Like, I don't know. Sadie's mom, Mr. Fryman, and slightly smaller, but still Mega Ruby Ruby. Mystery Girl for D, Jamie, Holly Blue and Yellow Zircon, E, Marty and Ronaldo, F, Onion, and I literally have no information on these characters to go off of, so they're just here. All right, and that is the tier list. Thank you for sticking around and listening to me ramble again. This has been Soradano Goofy 99, and I will catch you all next time. Peace out.